Hey Clashers, the update with the new rank mode is here, and this means we're going to take a look at the top 3 strategies you should use in this new mode. As well, we are going to have this spring trade rework happening with this update, and this means that the spring trade rework is considered for the top 3 ranking. As well, I will rank those strategies based on the strategy score. The first number is the difficulty. I will use that and multiply that by 1. The second number is then going to be the strength score. I will multiply that by 2 because I feel like the strength of the strategy is more important. I will add those together and then divide this by 3 so we have the strategy score. Let's just do the example with this Super Yeti strategy. We have the difficulty score of 5. If you add this up with having the strength score of 6, you need to multiply that by 2. We have a total score of 17. If we divide that by 3, we are down to 5.6 as the overall strategy score. As well, for the top 3 strategies, I have the recommendation, the priority list for the equipments you should upgrade, and the red numbers are as well the minimum level you should reach before going then to the next equipment to upgrade that. Let's start things off with the number 3 strategy, and that's going to be dragons. Especially now that the game is going to be harder within the with the modifiers, you want to bring a lot of support tools like rocket dunes to really adjust the pathing of your royal champion, as well as snipe some defenses. You can use the ice block to counter invisibility towers, and so on. For the hero, which means the archer queen, it's up to your personal choice. If you're going with the king, then you should go with the snake bracelet and as well the spiky ball, or with the archer queen as I am showcasing right here. My personal favorite is the archer queen in this army composition. You're going with the royal champion charge to somehow try to get the core, because that town hall is going to deal a lot of damage with 20% more, and as well the splash ability of like the lava dots and such. Town Hall is going to be a really important target for you and your dragons. But in general, use as well the rocket loons to push your royal champion into a really nice direction for you and your attack, something which maybe the base builder did not expect. Those rocket loons will make sure that you can avoid any traps out there, really make sure that you're entering from non-predicted entries, which is going to be in your favor. As well, pet-wise and equipment-wise for the royal champion, you have some options. If you want to avoid more often baits, and you're a lot of times running into baits, you might want to run the electro boots with the rocket spear and the phoenix. Use the use the active ability and the rocket spear early on, and you will be able to dodge the outside traps because those outside defenses are going to be taken care of with your rocket spear, with you not even getting close. But note this, it is going to be more difficult, but it's going to be way stronger for you using the fox with the haste vial. It's going to give you way more power, especially to get value inside the core. This phoenix will still work, but this version, especially now, is going to be able to utilize the Phoenix on the minion prince. If you combine the minion prince with the damage equipment, like for example the Dark Crown or the Henchman Puppet, you're going to have a really strong win condition to get 3 stars on the back end. Because if the minion prince is stacked up, he's going to keep those stacks when getting revived from the Phoenix. So this is why I prefer this pet combination, this equipment combination, because it feels like it is overall optimized. But remember, it is harder, so it's pretty much up to you what you want to run. As well, all of the support tools, which means like the Super Wall Breaker or the Ice Golem, you can remove that for just like re-adding some of those more dragons, for example. But the more support troops you are utilizing, like Rocket Loons, like the Ice Golem, like Wall Break, like Headhunter, and so on, the stronger your attack becomes. Because this means that you can enable the different approaches, which means like the Queen, Siege Barracks dive, or the Dragon dive, even further. We have now not used the Iceblock spell for the Royal Champion. This is why I utilized the Lava Hound with the Iceblock together to tank for the Dragons, which is another really cool trick. The Clan Carter troops is pretty much up to you. Some people like to bring the Triple Furnace, which sometimes, like in this example, can be completely useless, but in some other cases it can get you incredible value. You can go with super minions, you can go with 2 dragons and 3 loons. It is still like 3 loons. It's totally up to you, but there's many different versions out there which you can go for. This is the one which I would personally recommend. As well, something I really want to highlight here, that this is not just based on my own opinion, but as well I have asked some of the top players in the world what they would go for and how their ranking would look like and what their strategies would look like. Which means I've asked Cronos, I have asked Einstein, and as well Mammuth. So from Tribe Gaming, from Repotted Gaming, and as well from Dizi. So 3 teams which are all represented in the World Championship. So there is some know-how more as well behind the scenes, because I have not played hard mode a lot, so they now know way more about all of this. The number 2 strategy could be actually placed depending on your skill level in the number 1 spot, in the number 2, or in the number 3, or in the number 100 spot. Because if you cannot keep your warden alive in a warden charge now, there is no chance for you to execute this strategy. This strategy is insanely hard. Your warden is going to lose every single 1v1 versus those different defending heroes. Your warden is going to lose pretty much all those interactions with the defenses now, so you have to be super extra careful. As well, your own heroes are going to pop within seconds, which means if you're trying to get the king into a good spot for the Earthquake Boot and Spiky Ball combination, that's going to be a challenge. But if you can execute those attacks, you're going to be golden. Like, this is going to be your meta. It is going to be great. Something which is super important, which is why I have promoted this now for so long, is you need to use the Flame Finger. Trying to triple with this strategy in a more difficult modifier like the Legend mode is nearly impossible. Like, using the Siege Barracks is working great in the current normal mode, but as soon as you're playing with a modifier, you have to bring the Flame Flinger. Otherwise, you're pretty much done. It's nearly impossible to 3-star, except if you can like fireball half the base because of a crazy Rage Tower. But it is super crucial that you're like knowing how to set this up, and this is why it's so important to bring the Rocket Loons to snipe Expos and other defense which are on the 2nd or even 3rd layer to really set up that Flame Flinger. With that being said, we're now supporting the Warden to push him into the right direction and get the Fireball into the core. The Fireball, the Clan Cast is always a high priority for you as an attacker. And take a look at that now. The defending Queen is shooting a couple of times, and that had turned out being a couple of seconds too late nearly has cost me the entire attack. Those defending heroes are scary. And just keeping your Warden alive is going to be a real challenge. It is not going to be easy. So really be careful about using this strategy. It is going to be a really big challenge of being consistent. If you're asking me, I would say there is not even 500 players in the entire world out there who could consistently play a Warden Charge Fireball attack. And that's one of the reasons as well why we see it so rarely in hard mode in tournaments, for example. It is not easy whatsoever, but if you can play it even a little bit close to on a good level, you're going to have a really strong tool to play in this new modifier in Legend League. Now, back to the heroes. We have King and Queen dive in from the top side. You can use some druids to support them, but the druid support push is going to be even weaker now in the Legend modifier because the heroes take so much damage. So just be mindful of that you might want to replace the druids. But again, it's person preference, and that's such an important thing about this strategy. Some people like to bring a Yeti to enable the Flame Flinger. Some people like to add the druids for the hero push. Some people don't like to bring them. I will share with you tomorrow my first day. Hopefully the update is going to happen as planned and such, right? But I will show you tomorrow my first Legend day with my version of the Fireball Rocket Dunes, because I, for example, have removed the Archer Queen, added the Minion Prince, but I will show you my version of this attack tomorrow in the video then, where we're doing the attacks live in Legends. And let's see how good we're going to do there. But the really key thing, which is always the same, is the Warden Charge, which means the Warden with the healers and the Fireball equipment and the Rage Gem. That's pretty much what is always the same. Everything else you can adjust around and really adapt. As well, for example, Shock's version of this attack with the Mass Furnace is as well relying on the Fireball, but you can add some Mass Furnace, which I think is way less flexible, especially now with the Legend modifier, but can be used for sure as well if you're good with it. So make sure that you're coming up with your favorite version of the Fireball attack. It's going to be a really strong one. But we're now getting to the number 1 strategy, which is just keep dominating. I mean, I've asked all of the pros, and I mean, there's as long as there are no balance changes, this is not going to change. And if you're asking me, I would like to see pretty much a buff to everything else except those Root Riders with the Royal Champion Charge as well. Buff everything else, especially now with the Legend modifier. You can do it. I mean, the game is hard enough on the highest leagues, right? So you can just buff everything else. But let's get back to the attack, because now it's really important that you know your limits with the Royal Champion Charge. Every pro agreed that in Legends now, it is better to do a shorter Royal Champion Charge and have 2 overgrowth to your army. You just want to interrupt the outside ring of a defense, of a base in general, and then create the rest of the pathing with the overgrowth spells. So for us here, for example, as soon as we get the Expo, we could recall the Royal Champion. Something I would depend this on how greedy you are with the value, or maybe how safe you play. I would make this dependent on how many traps you're running into. For me right now, we're not really running into any traps. So we can push our luck a little bit further and try to go for 1 or maybe even 2 more key defenses to really get the value even better. But at the end of the day, sometimes if you're running into a bait, you just have to go with the bare minimum and accept that you will lose the Fox, but keep your Royal Champion safe. This is why we have this combination. Now we'll get to the next hero where you have some options. Warden. A lot of pros are saying the Healing Tome with the Rage Gem is a really good combination. This one can struggle versus double Rage Tower bases, so you need to be careful with that. If you want to be and have a better option versus Rage Tower bases, you should go with the Eternal Tome and the Rage Gem. But the one equipment which all of the pros have agreed on is pretty much set is the Rage Gem. Just the fact that you have this non-stop healing is super crucial. As well, the fact that you have only 4 healers, you can add this to add this up to 5 and remove 3 loons. But having more test loons is just so much more important. Because take a look at that. We have like half a Lalo in front of our healers, which means how are they supposed to die? Keeping them safe is the most important thing, and having more test loons is way more important than having like even more healers. And 4 healers are completely fine because this is how like the stacking of healers work. 4 is like the optimum for those type of ground attacks. With this one being said, we have made sure that the cores keep getting like overgrowth and there's no damage coming back to our troops, and we're just slowly overpowering the base. The Rage Gem makes sure that we have a non-stop power, that we're not running into time issues whatsoever, and we have this non-stop push. As well, the Healing Tome is making sure that if there are Poison Tower bases out there, which will be meta, I mean Poison Tower bases pretty much have no weakness. This is why all of the competitive tournaments are using the Poison Towers. With Rage Towers, you have the weakness to Fireball attacks. Yes, it's going to be greater and better versus Root Rider attacks, but there's this weakness. But then with Poison Towers, they're just an all-rounder. With the 20% plus damage, Poison Tower bases are going to be the meta. And with having the Healing Tome, you make sure that your healers and as well the test loons are staying safe, even through the splash damage of the Town Hall, or for example the Poison Towers or Red Mines or whatever. And with that being said, we have the #1 strategy still in the game. So I'm really sorry to say this, but the top 3 strategies have pretty much not changed whatsoever. There now might be a couple of strategies which you would hope for and maybe try, like Super Hawk Riders, but give it just a try. 20% more damage, especially to splash defense like Skeleton Shot and so on. Versus Super Hawk Riders, you are going to have a miserable time. It's not going to be fun whatsoever. So Super Hawk Riders, I would not recommend them whatsoever. As well, the Super Yetis have received a quite big, significant nerf due to the Springtrap rework. Because running into Springtrap now means that you're losing a lot of hit points earlier on the Super Yetis, and this will launch a lot of the Electromites early into the attack. You want to save those. You want to not lose those early. So Fireball Super Yeti will be a really, really way worse strategy than before, because on the halftime of the attack, you would have lost already all of the Electromites. The Super Yetis are somewhat useless after that. You want to have instead the Electromites on the back end, for example. So this is why Super Yetis, for example, are way worse than before. So that's the sad news. And as I'm hitting my microphone, I have to repeat again, I'm really sorry, but the top 3 strategies are pretty much staying the same. I personally hope for some fun things as well popping up. Like I think big countries, Fireball Thrower strategy might be like a off-meta, like niche strategy, which could still work really well as well in Legends. Otherwise, I guess time will tell. Let me know what you want to use on your first Legend Day, what you will use, and how successful you are or were maybe in friendly challenges. Otherwise, I will see you guys back tomorrow with the next class video. Until then, see ya, and bye-bye.